Yo, what's happening guys, King GBL here, and welcome back to a brand new Go Battle League video. Today, I'm going to be showcasing all of the upcoming limited metas in Season 20 of Go Battle League. We're going to have a look for every cup: Psychic Cup, Sunshine Cup, Galar Little Cup, Halloween Cup, Willpower Cup, Retro Cup, Great League Remix, Master Premier. We're going to have a look through all of the limited metas, basically give you guys some time to get ahead, right? Because I think if you know in advance which Pokemon you need to look out for, you can easily prepare for these metas and it'll make it much easier for you. If you want to see me make these videos more often, feel free to drop a like, a comment, subscribe. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. I also want to say a big thank you. We hit 5,000 subscribers on the channel yesterday. I really appreciate all the support on the channel. 5k is a huge milestone, and I want to say I appreciate every single one of you who tune in, watch the videos, support the channel, and basically allow me to create Pokemon Go content for you guys. Without any further ado, let's hop into the content. We're going to leave the open leagues to the very end, because everybody showcased tons of videos showcasing the open leagues. In this video, we're going to focus on the limited metas first, and what I'll do at the end of the video is briefly touch over Open Great League, Open Ultra, and Open Master League. To start off Season 20, we have a week of Open Great League, Open Ultra League, with 2 weeks of Little Galar Cup. I'm not going to touch on this too much. Little cups are not really my thing, but as you can see, Shuckle is going to be very powerful, Bronzor is going to be very powerful as well. This cup is going to be basically trying to core break these two Pokemon. Some people definitely have these built. I think if you were to run these two Pokemon, plus maybe a grass Pokemon in the lead, like let's say for example, Cottony with Razor Leaf, or I guess with even Charm should be fine. Of course we do have the nerf to Razor Leaf, but I think that actually might be sufficient. The main core breaker to these two Pokemon are things like Whiscash. You can see here Galarian Stunfisk beats these, Whiscash beats these. So basically, you can run these two Pokemon with an answer to ground, whether that be a fighting Pokemon that you want to use, or a grass Pokemon, and you should basically be fine. You're seeing here the Bronzor will be losing to things like Purloin with buff Sucker Punch. Barboach Shadow is still ranked number 8 here, even with Mudshot. Perhaps Water Gun could be more efficient for this Pokemon. Once again, Whiscash has Mudshot. Again, Water Gun could be a little bit more useful. I don't think this meta is going to be particularly good. I don't want to spend any more time on it. I recommend for the first week and the second week, try to play Open Great League and Open Ultra League. During week 3, we have the ever popular Psychic Cup. Let me know in the comments, do you guys like Psychic Cup? Now, I've done a simulation on this, and no matter how hard I try, I cannot get Pvpoke to put in Galarian Slowking, so we're going to have to make do without it. If I was to give you an estimation of where Slowking's going to be, it should be in the top 10 here somewhere, definitely. It's got Hex, Surf, and Shadow Ball as its recommended moveset. As you can see here, Galarian Slowbro with Brutal Swing, that's a huge buff for the Psychic Cup. We have a huge buff in these two Pokemon as well, Malamar, Claydol with, of course, Psywave and Mudslap. These Pokemon are definitely going to be a very, very strong trio. The Tang with buff Metal Claw is going to be very nice as well. It's going to look to core break any fairies that will be on teams. The ever-powerful Galarian Rapidash will be in this cup, and it may have Wild Charge, which could be kind of interesting for this cup. Wild Charge, of course, getting walled by Claydol. I see here that the moveset is on Play Rough for Rapidash. I think based on the Pokemon that we're seeing here so far, you're definitely going to want to use either Mega Horn or High Horsepower. High Horsepower will benefit you a lot more for Pokemon like Matang, which depending on the energy generation will be quite useful. It gives you that one-shot potential against things like Victini, Galarian Slowbro. The Galarian Slows will be basically everywhere, so I've always been a huge fan of High Horsepower on this Pokemon. Apart from that guys, this cup is just pretty much what it is. Like I said, we have a few buffs here with Psywave, Brutal Swing, Mudslap's damage and I think energy going up, Rapidash potentially getting a Calm Down move, Metal Claw on Matang. That's definitely a huge upgrade for this Pokemon. I don't expect to see any Armorogue, but you never know. Some people have probably traded them down for Great League. One thing that I do think is very interesting here is Oranguru, coming in at rank 20. Its fast move lets it down a little bit with Confusion, but it does have access to Brutal Swing and Trailblaze, which looking at the top Pokemon, that definitely could be quite a core breaker, and I think you should keep an eye out for Oranguru. Latios right here as well has the potential to basically 2 shield through Pokemon, so if you're looking to fight for alignment, which in the Psychic Cup can be quite important at times. Psychic Cup in general I consider more of an energy meta than an alignment meta, but there are certain teams where you do need to take hardcore alignment, and Shadow Latios could be the thing to do that. Anyway guys, that's Psychic Cup, mostly unchanged, but a few little niche updates in there. Guys, I only have to apologise. You can see here we have Psychic Cup right here this week. We have 3 open leagues, and we have Galar Cup Great League Edition. Don't know if I can get the entire Sword and Shield Pokedex to put it into this video, so I am going to have to skip that one, I'm afraid. You will be able to see that, of course, when the Pvpoke rankings come out. I think we can have a look at this, because this will, of course, include the same type of Pokemon from the Pokedex. So we're seeing here, if you ignore all of the baby Pokemon, right, things like Mandibuzz, Whiscash, Drapion, Diggersby, Drifblim could be in here. We're going to have the Machoke line. We're going to have the Umbreon. Scrafty, I don't think it's going to be too good. We're going to have some of these Mud Boys in here. If Inkay is available, so will Malamar. Pangoro, Machamp. To be honest with you guys, at this time, it's a little bit too difficult for me to get the rankings for this particular cup, but I did want to showcase this just before we hop into the Sunshine Cup. So Sunshine Cup here is Fire, Grass, Ground, and Normal type Pokemon. As you can see here, Jumpluff with Buff Fairy Wind, going to be the new rank 1 in this cup. Typically this cup is dominated by normal type Pokemon, but as you can see here, we're dominating this with Jumpluff, Shadow Abomasnow, and then of course you're going to have all of the Fire type Pokemon to basically counter the Grass. The really interesting pick here at this point is Ursaring Shadow. That's a Pokemon that you would not have really expected to be meta in these cups. Shadow Claw, buffed Swift, and Close Combat makes this Pokemon very, very interesting. Now typically guys, this is a Vigoroth cup, however we have new normals in town. We have Ursaring, Licky, and Pidgeot with Gust is a very interesting pick for this cup as well. As you can see here, like I said, we have the Marowaks. We have Gligar now on Fury Cutter, of course with Aurelius and Dig, offering fantastic coverage, right? You're offering super effective damage onto the Marowak. We have Tropius here with Leaf Blade and Aurelius. I think, to be completely honest with you guys, Vigoroth is what kept this cup from being RPS. I think it's kind of like be careful what you wish for sometimes. People might be sick of looking at Vigoroth, but if you have a very neutral strong Pokemon, it doesn't allow for too much RPS. Vigoroth, rank 82, like it's still playable, because if you have a look at the top meta, it still has a lot of play into some of these Pokemon. I think the reliable normal, non-RPS Pokemon here are going to be your Dunsparces, your Pidgeots, your Lickys. We're seeing here that Stunfisk is very, very low in this cup. In previous seasons, that Pokemon has been quite good. I do think Ice types could have some very good play in this cup, of course, if you're hunting a lot of the top meta. Jumpluff, Abomasnow, Talonflame, you can almost just run that as an ABB team. There's not really that much that can corroborate that, to be fair. But like I said, I think you're going to be relying on things like Licky with Rollout to basically take care of this top section of Pokemon. So following Sunshine Cup and Ultra League, we're going to have Master League with Halloween Cup Little Edition. Guys, I hate to say it, but if you don't have Master League Pokemon, you're in for a tough week here. Shuckle, rank 1, Marill, rank 3. So instead of Bronzor, it's going to be Marill. We're going to be looking to the Poison type Pokemon, this Poison Ground Pokemon here, to hopefully core break a little bit. I think you might want Poison Jab on this Pokemon. Poison Jab, Dig, Body Slam could be a decent combination to take out Marill and Shuckle. We're going to have Buff Drapion, which moveset gets completely walled by Marill. We have Wigglytuff in this cup. Guys, I think this cup is going to be horrible. I'm not going to lie to you. This is going to be a really, really tough week. We're seeing Shuckle, Marill, we're seeing some Poisons, we're seeing some Charmers down here as well. This is definitely going to be a week to skip. I do have to say that running Open Master League with a little cup is probably one of the silliest things you can possibly do. I think you might want to prepare for Master League. But anyway guys, we have two fantastic cups the next week. We have Great League Remix and Halloween Cup. Hopping into the Halloween Cup Great League Edition, we have Clodsire, Marowak, Mandibuzz, Drapion, Greninja, Carbink, Weezing, Runerigus, Salazzle, Drapion. Quite interesting Pokemon here. So to break this down a little bit, Clodsire is going to be doing very good into Marowak. It does very fine into Mandibuzz with Poison, Sting, Stone Edge. It does very fine into Drapion. Then you're going to have some answers for Clodsire a little bit further down. Things like Greninja. Carbink, of course, gets absolutely destroyed by this. Carbink absolutely destroys Mandibuzz. Clodsire absolutely destroys Carbink. It's going to be quite an interesting cup here, to be fair. Typically, this cup sees a lot of play with things like Toxapex, for example, which is rank 39 this time around. Charjabug is normally very good in this cup, which is rank 59. Perhaps we could be looking at something like a Runerigus without the standard moveset. Perhaps a Rock Tomb as a safe swap could be very beneficial for this Pokemon. You would have the hard-hitting Shadow Ball for something like a Clodsire, resisting Poison Stings, and you would have the Rock Tomb for a Mandibuzz. It would still not be a fantastic matchup, but that could be something worth considering. I do think Greninja is going to be a very flexible Pokemon in this meta. Beats the Claude, beats the Marowak. I'm sure it comes very close to beating Mandibuzz. At the very least, it's a neutral matchup. It's going to beat your Carbinks, it's going to beat your Drapions. I think Greninja, it's going to be kind of your crutch Pokemon in this cup. We also have Pangoro available in this cup with Karate Chop. I think that could be a very interesting pick here. Pangoro could be a very unique core breaker, close combats, hit like a truck, going to do very good damage into something like Mandibuzz with neutral damage. We have the Night Slash for the Marowak, Night Slash for this thing right here. Of course, threatening the one-shot in Greninja. Probably has a fine enough matchup with close combat into Carbink. I'm going to be honest with you guys, this cup kind of looks a little bit RPS. That's kind of the general theme I am getting with a lot of these cups so far. We're seeing Klefki down at 20, we're seeing Wigglytuff, Fortress with the Volt Switch update. Could be a very cool one as well, with Earthquake for the Clodsire, and of course Volt Switch and Mirror Shot. You might even want to run this with Rock Tomb. This could be a nice little safe swap potentially, where you have coverage for the Clodsire and coverage for the Mandibuzz. Now looking down here, I think a Alolan Ninetales could be the ticket right here. Very fine into Clodsire, of course horrible into this thing, great into Mandibuzz, pretty neutral into the Drapion, doesn't have a great matchup here, doesn't have a great matchup here, still looking pretty RPS, does very well into the Runerigus, and then of course we're going to have Salazzle with Incinerate, Poison Fanging through teams. So yeah, I would say this cup's going to be interesting, and I think I'll most likely play the Great League Remix this week. Speaking of Great League Remix, here it is. Pangoro rank 1, Clefable with buff Swift, and Fairy Wind, of course another Fairy Wind at rank 2, Machamp, Marowak, Malamar, Mandibuzz, Clodsire, Marowak, Jumpluff, Gastrodon. On the face of this cup, this looks very healthy to me. We have a Fighter at rank 1, we have a Fairy at rank 2, and we have something here that most likely beats both of them at rank 3. We have the Machamp, which again with Stone Edge is no joke. It definitely can put in a lot of work against Clefable and Jumpluff, and of course with Pangoro being a dark type Pokemon, Karate Chops and Cross Chops are going to wreck it. Then we have a Core Breaker at rank 5, which should be doing very fine into the top 4. Of course, you're not going to enjoy Night Slash from Pangoro too much. Moving on down here, we have Malamar, Mandibuzz, Clodsire. Guys, this Mandibuzz Clodsire core is just going to be exceptionally annoying for the entire season, I believe. This is going to be the first limited meta with Gastrodon. Mud Slap, Body Slam, Earth Power. Despite Body Slam being nerfed, it's still going to be a fine move. You also have the option for Water Pulse if need be. Once again, it kind of looks like an RPS option. Absolutely destroys the Clodsire and Drapion, destroys the Marowak. Probably has a fairly neutral matchup into Machamp and Pangoro. Definitely not going to be a positive matchup though. But as you can see, hard beats the Poisons and the Fires, even beats Malamar, but it's going to have some pretty hard losses into the Flyers and Grass type Pokemon. Ursaring Shadow, once again, very cool Pokemon for this cup. Since I've seen all of these limited metas, I've actually started doing the normal type Grunt, so I would highly recommend that you do so as well. Aurora's here providing some ice coverage into the cup, which on the face of it, with Meteor Beam for the Marowak, spammy Weather Balls for the rest of the meta, Aurora's could be kinda nice in this cup. In essence, this cup is basically all of the Pokemon that have been buffed without all of last season's meta. I do feel that there's going to be a very RPS element to it. I do feel like it's going to be spam Mandibuzz and Clodsire and hope for the best, just like almost all of the limited metas here. Following the week of Great League Remix and Halloween Cup, we've Master Premier. I do think that one of these two cups should have been last week in the rotation. Instead of having Halloween Little Cup and Master League, we should have had one of these two cups. To be honest with you guys, I'm not a huge Master League player, so I can't really talk about these things too much here. Some interesting things of note is Fairy Wind, Florges rank 1. I think that has been the case for the last few times. We're seeing this RPS with Gyarados, Florges, Dragonite. Golisopod rank 6 here. We do have Charm Primarina coming in at rank 7 with Hydro Cannon. That's kind of crazy if you think about it. Imagine Wigglytuff with Hydro Cannon at the same time that you would get a Swift. That is pretty insane, to be honest with you. Sparkling Aria is going to be a water move as well. I thought it might have been a fairy move, to be fair. We're basically seeing this just a worse Hydro Cannon. Not too sure what the point of this move is. Disarming Voice Hydro Cannon, gonna get the job done for this Pokemon. We have Rhyperior Shadow here, Mud Slap, a Rock Wrecker and Breaking Swipe. Definitely seems to lose to the top meta, but can do very well into the Florges and Primarina by the looks of things. I would say Primarina probably can 2-shield through most of the meta. And then by the looks of things, we have the usual suspects for Alligator, Avalugg, Rhyperior as well as I mentioned, Shadow, Non-Shadow. The Titan, that's very interesting. Goodra I think was there last time as well, actually with Draco Meteor. Togekiss, Machamp Shadow, of course with the buff, doesn't really do very well into the top 7 or so Pokemon. Kind of does destroy the Rhyperior, so if that's an issue I guess that works. And what's very cool is we have Dragapult, which is a brand new Pokemon. That's very cool, it's ranked at 22, with Astonish, Breaking Swipe and Shadow Ball. Breaking Swipe, massive update for this Pokemon, very cool. And then again we'll have Magnezone, which should be a pretty huge core breaker to this cup. Beats the Florges, Gyarados, Dragonite, Golisopod, Primarina. Has these super effective mirror shots for the Rhyperior. Beats this. Magnezone, definitely looking like a very cool pick for this cup. The following week we have the Willpower Cup, which is Psychic, Dark and Fighting type Pokemon. Now, Gardevoir Shadow and Non-Shadow rank 1 and 2, Mandibuzz rank 3, Galarian Rapidash. I mean, yeah, this kind of looks pretty RPS, not gonna lie. Whenever you have Gardevoir rank 1, it kind of is a bit of a concern, to be honest with you. I do wonder if Drapion will be running something other than Crunch. Not too sure what Crunch is going to help for. This is a Joint Fairy type, this is a Joint Fairy as well. So perhaps you would want Sludge Bomb on the Drapion. Of course these Pvpoke rankings don't take all of these things into consideration. We do have Cresselia here with Moonblast Grass Knot. Not too sure how useful it will be other than beating the 2 dark types at the top here. Pangoro, to be honest, seems pretty outclassed. I feel like this cup is going to be pretty RPS as well, unfortunately. We have a Charmer rank 1. I do think that Niantic made a bit of an oversight with Charm. I do believe that should have been nerfed. Once again, it's very cool to see Galarian Slowbro in here. I do believe Galarian Slowbro could be somewhat of a saviour for this cup. It's going to do very well into Malamar. Of course, resist the close combat, can only get hit by the Night Slash here. Definitely seems to have a decent amount of play into the whole top meta here. So yeah, I would definitely keep an eye out on Galarian Slowbro. But apart from that, guys, like, it just feels like there's not that much use in this cup. This feels very, very RPS. This kind of feels like Fossil Cup level of RPS, especially with a Charmer rank 1. We do have Ultra League that week, so I might consider playing Ultra League that week, to be honest with you. And guys, the final limited meta for the season is going to be good old reliable Retro Cup. Surely Retro Cup's going to come through for us here. So Retro Cup here is no Fairy, no Dark, and no Steel Pokemon. So we're seeing here rank 1 Jumpluff. Okay, so I don't mind Jumpluff being rank 1, Aurorus rank 2, Licky rank 3. So it's kind of like these are the two top meta Pokemon. They beat each other. Aurorus beats this, right? This has the Energy Ball for Aurorus, and then Licky is a Core Breaker for both of them. That's kind of interesting. Ursaring, once again, guys, we're seeing Ursaring all over this place. Get yourself an Ursaring, man. Dusknoir, really interesting, with buff Shadow Punch, Shadow Ball, and Astonish. Pretty cool. To be fair, I don't know how it's going to deal with all of these, but I mean, it's in there. So total, very interesting here. Not too sure how used it's going to be. I think the ice of choice will be Aurorus for sure. Then of course we do have the Machamp to core break a lot of this. I didn't even mention Oranguru, has Confusion, Brutal Swing, and Trailblaze. Definitely could be quite good, and looks like a pretty neutral pick in this cup so far. Then we're just going to kind of have a variety of Pokemon. The Machamps, the Galeeds of the world, the Abomasnows. Abomasnow again could be quite interesting. Does very fine into Aurorus and Jumpluff. Your Quillfishes of the world, with your just kind of Poison Sting and kind of neutral movesets, could be very good as well. We're seeing some Dunsparce in this cup, which we haven't really seen too much of throughout the entire metas yet. Clodsire, of course it wouldn't be a cup without Clodsire. He's here, rank 20. Once again, looks like a bit of a core breaker for these two. Of course, going to destroy the Jumpluff, has Earthquake for Aurorus. Generally, Aurorus will destroy the Clodsire though. Clodsire does very well into Licky, of course. Just outpaces it pretty well with Poison Sting, resists the rollout. Guys, the thing I'm kind of noticing about all of these cups is, we're seeing the same Pokemon pretty much over and over again, which is a bit of a concern to me. And we're seeing that the flexibility of these Pokemon doesn't really look too high. Maybe I'm just completely misreading everything. We do have Feraligatr in here, which could be nice as well, by the way. Maybe I'm just misreading it, but to me, it definitely feels like these cups are not very flexible. It seems like these are just hard meta cups. I don't know about this, guys, to be honest with you. I think this game could be flipped on its head, where basically the open leagues might be the less RPS leagues. That's kind of what I'm starting to see here, because if you have a look at the open Great League here, we have Clodsire, Carbink, Feraligatr, Gastrodon, Dunsparce, Mandibuzz, Pangoro, Bastiodon. We're seeing quite like a decent variety of typings. I think, honestly, open leagues actually might be better than limited metas. I'm a massive fan of limited metas in Great League, but having looked through all of these metas, I'm just seeing a lot of RPS cups, which is pretty concerning. Now, the great thing is, next season, guys, we do have the 50-second switch timer. That's definitely going to offset a lot of the RPS, being able to shield and potentially catch moves. That's where your money's going to be made next season. Just quickly looking at Ultra League, because I've not showcased this yet. Zygarde, Feraligatr, Clefable, Malamar, Pangoro, Licky. Very, very interesting. I hate the fact Zygarde is rank 1, but Shadow Feraligatr should be able to take care of it. It's kind of hilarious to me that Giratina loses to Zygarde. I do wonder if Giratina is going to prefer Dragon Breath next season, especially with something like Licky in the meta. Ultra League is looking kind of different. Typically, Ultra League has a lot of Pokemon that are weak to ground, so I do wonder if Gastrodon is really going to shake up the Ultra League. We've not had a Pokemon like this in Ultra League before, where it core breaks the Skeledirge, the electric Pokemon, your steel types. We don't really have like a lot of good ground Pokemon in Ultra League currently, and I think that's going to be the biggest difference. We have a very overpowered ground in Zygarde. Steelix looks like it's pretty high up the rankings here. We're going to have Gastrodon, Runerigus, XL Pokemon here, as the ground subtyping. Of course not using a ground type move, but very, very interesting nonetheless. And then of course we're going to have things like Golurk, Shadow, Hippowdon of course with Sand Attack. People were using Hippowdon to basically core break a lot of the poison teams and a lot of the electric teams and teams that are just ABA weak to ground. Ultra League definitely looks very interesting. Having Clefable rank 3 is very, very cool as well. Feraligatr, Shadow, and Feraligatr just going to be everywhere, destroying the whole place. I think Feraligatr is going to be just such a strong Pokemon next season. I think people are going to be crying to have Shadow Claw nerfed next season after Feraligatr. Once again guys, we're going to have bulky mandibles. Do we have Clodsire in Ultra League? It's actually ranked 96, which I do believe is an improvement on its current position. And finally guys, hopping into Master League, which I know basically nothing about. Zygarde being ranked 1, not too much of a surprise to be fair. Palkia, not too much of a surprise. Yveltal with Sucker Punch, very cool. No surprise here, Solgaleo with Fire Spin, massively good next season. And of course we're going to have Duskmane with Shadow Claw, Dark Pulse, Sunseal Strike. If you look at it compared to now, Xerneas seems to have dropped off quite a lot. Groudon's definitely dropped off, and the Mudshotters in general, a hell of a lot. We're seeing the Solgaleos and the Crozmas of the world just rise up all the way to the top. By the looks of things, we're seeing a huge improvement for Ho-Oh, based on the move updates. Fairywind Florges in at rank 9 is very cool. Landofurion with 665 instead of straight 5 Sandsear Storm, definitely very noticeable. And then we have Giratina Altered at rank 13. Galarian Moltres, I think, such a cool pick. You could see some ABB teams with Yveltal and Moltres in the Ultra League, or sorry, in the Master League, which I think will be very cool to see. But anyway guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the limited metas in the comment section down below. I do think it's very interesting. My initial take is that a lot of these cups are quite RPS, unfortunately. I hope that's not the case. I do hope that I've misread it. I hope that I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll put my hand up and say, you know what? I was completely wrong. These cups are better. They're not RPS. Just from what I'm looking at so far, that's just kind of the trend I've noticed. I'm seeing these little cups with all these kind of XL RPS Pokemon. I'm seeing this cup here with Grass versus Fire versus Normal. Hopefully Normal stands out a little bit more. We're seeing this cup once again with the Marill and Shuckle. We're seeing this Clodsire Mandibles core everywhere, with of course Marowak mixed in, which is kind of, like I said, RPS as well. Again, remix, kind of looks like it might be the ticket next season. Then we have this cup right here, which has got a Charmer rank 1, with a Dark type rank 3 and 4. Kind of RPS if you ask me. And then like I mentioned, we have the sort of open leagues, the Great League, Ultra League, Master League, which like I said, I think definitely are much improved. But I do fear that the limited metas might not be quite as enjoyable. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching the video. If you made it to the end, drop a like, subscribe, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And I very much appreciate you watching. Once again guys, big thank you for 5k, big thank you to everybody who supports the channel, shout out to the channel members and supporters. Your support is very much appreciated. If you're interested in joining our community, feel free to join my Discord in the description down below, follow me on Twitter, and last but not least, and most importantly, have a fantastic rest of your day.